Hello everyone, Nick here, and I will be covering a special topic in this video. That's right again, Billy Mitchell makes his graces suing one of the most prolific, and I mean prolific YouTubers of all time, Karl Jobst. So let's get into it, right? So here is the post. Donkey Kong Champion claims he was defamed over YouTube video. So this site, 9.com AU, so an Australian site, basically covers so as you can see, this Queensland site, they talk about Billy Mitchell, this video gamer, and this content creator, who's also a video gamer, how they're heading off against each other in a defamation trial. So here's the thing about defamation trials. Defamation trials, right? They really take a lot of time because it can devolve into he said, she said. It can be devolved into, well, you didn't report the facts right on one end versus the other. I mean, I'll give you my thoughts in a moment once we go through everything. So here's the Donkey Kong thing, of course. We're talking about the little girder finger meme. So an American arcade gamer known for high scores in Donkey Kong claims a Queensland YouTuber damaged his reputation by linking him to a critic's so and so, a judge has heard. So that's an interesting thing, and personally, if you don't know who that is, that would be Apollo Legend, who will always be a legend. And honestly, I just think it's really sad that Billy is saying that because, to be honest, I have to be upfront. If Billy asked me, I would honestly side with Karl Jobst here. I personally think Billy Mitchell had a strong hand in his mental health. And we all know Billy likes to fire lawsuits before talking to anything, so that's the big problem about Billy Mitchell. He's basically become a meme of litigiousness. I mean, I don't like taking things to court personally because courts are something where you really have to be invested in the time, and something like this just seems like a waste of time, particularly for Billy, but also sadly for Karl. Karl is defending himself, and again, my side is gonna have to be with Karl on this one, not Billy. So Karl gets a huge vote in my opinion. So William Billy Mitchell faced Brisbane District Court today for his defamation claims based Creator 38 versus a 59. So Judge Barlow heard about these heinous crimes and could not ignore. Mitchell rose to fame in the 1980s and 80s and 90s through recognition of high scores in arcade video games, including Donkey Kong Pac-Man, regained public attention in 2007 with the documentary King of Kong, and later saw the legitimacy of his scores challenged through allegations like non-arcade cabinets. Guinness World Records removed many of Mitchell's highest achievements before reinstating them in 2018 as a legal action. Now, here's the thing about that reinstatement, right? That reinstatement was total. Like, we can all agree about that, right? Like, once you get ripped off for cheating, you don't get to have your records placed back on. And the thing about Billy is that he didn't disprove his cheating. He just proved that he was able to get a million point score. And getting a million points, while is great, it's like, but you still played on main, Billy. We still have the proof. We still have the girder finger. We still have all these things that link it against you. And at the end of the day, it's like if you didn't want to be taken off, you shouldn't have cheated in the first place, Billy. Now, I'm of course went through a certain scenario myself when it comes to that, and you learn that the competition field isn't always fair. The competition field is almost always painted with blood. Why? Because people don't like losing. People don't like trying to think of the way to best word this. People don't like it when they have their records, their reputation, or their accomplishment admonished or taken away from them. And so when something like that happens, someone like Billy, who is the most glass house person I've ever seen in my entire life, and by the way, I can say this because I met Billy Mitchell, the guy literally exudes insecurity. The guy literally exudes like, if I lose, I'm coming after you. It's like, wow, Billy, you're sad. So, and take it for someone who has actually impersonated Billy Mitchell, um, I can speak volumes on that. So let's get back to it. Right. So Michael Barrister Peter Summers said the case concerned not whether my client cheated, but a video Jobs published in 2021 that persists his client litigation. Another YouTuber. Interesting. Oh, Apollo Legend, right? Demanded a large sum of money, known as Apollo Legend. I mean, that was rough. Like, I have to just say, like, Apollo Legends passing was really rough on the gaming community, particularly, like, I can say myself, and sadly even Tipster, and a whole bunch of other people, but, like, we all loved Apollo Legend because Apollo Legend was the thing that the gaming community needed to hold people accountable. And if you don't hold people accountable, then you just have people like Billy Mitchell or, well, I'm not going to say their name, but you already know who I'm dealing with if you watch me. And I've already said them enough, and I don't really want to speak about them, but basically I could just infer it and you already know what I'm talking about. But God forbid I make a video that's not about them and they're going to make everything about them. So, see, this is what you have to deal with parasocial people on YouTube. So you try to let the joy of your life dictate your life more than the misery. And it's hard in situations like this. And I have to just say, like, I was heartbroken when Apollo passed away. I cried. I cried really hard. Um, I was like heartbroken to the utmost, but you couldn't do anything because it was all things that are out of control, and you're just like horrible. So let's go back. So, right. Summers said Krups had implied Mitchell's prior defamation case as a significant factor in Mr. Smith's own life. Judge Barlow was handed a collection of nearly 400 comments made by viewers. He killed Apollo, claimed Smith used Sue for wrongful death. Jobs had denied video imputations. Summers said Jobst. So here's the thing, right? So we'll get on to this in a moment. Let's just finish the thing. Mitchell said I became the bad guy. I mean, we're always the bad guy, Mitchell, and we all know it. Judge Barlow has shown a video made by Smith about his decision. Summer said Mitchell, Summer to court, requires Smith to pay damages. Jobs' legal team has filed a defense that Smith's required to take him down. Mitchell took the stand to give evidence during the day, long trial with a black suit, black hair. Mitchell said the King of Kong edited for dramatic effect against Steve Wiebe. Mitchell said he had been recognized by strangers every day since the film came out and has been invited to make paid appearances in Australia. Okay, so we'll get into my thoughts and we'll end the video. So here's the thing, right? Karl Jobst, I don't think he said specifically that Apollo Legends passing was caused by Billy, right? Technically speaking, all we can deduce or speculate, I should say, that Apollo Legend was in a bad space, in a bad place. He had no one to talk to, and he felt like he was a failure. And he felt like it was a failure because of the situation he was in. And to be fair, if you ask my personal opinion, and this is mine, not Karl Jobs, if you ask my personal opinion, I personally think that Billy Mitchell played a heavy hand in Apollo Legends passing, right? Like, I don't think anyone's going to deny that. That being said, the problem here is the fact that Billy Mitchell didn't convince Apollo Legend to therefore do the deed. Apollo Legend did it because of the stress and the pressure. So it's a very gray area when it comes to that kind of situation. We don't really know what happened to Apollo Legend or why he made that decision completely, but we do know that Bill and Mitchell did not help, and that's obvious. And I think that can be agreed. But the thing is, Carl Jobs never said that that was the reason specifically. And because you can't make that, right? That's a tough leap to make unless they're going to have DMs or conversations, and that's a tough thing to say. Now, it's hard when you deal with people that don't want to talk and they make it all about them. And unfortunately, this is about Billy Mitchell because Billy Mitchell makes everything about him. And every time he makes it about him, there's a certain aspect to Billy Mitchell that he just loses credibility. And every time Billy Mitchell opens his mouth, I'm just like, Billy, do you hear yourself speak? Billy, do you hear what's going on? Do you hear what's going on? Like, do you care? Like, what the heck, Billy? Like, how do you talk to Billy Mitchell? Like, how do you say anything to Billy Mitchell? Like, Billy Mitchell is Billy Mitchell, right? Like, anything involving Billy Mitchell is all about Billy Mitchell. Like, as like repetitive and as on the nose as that is, it's like you can't really say anything more than that. I could extend this video out to 100 minutes to 500 minutes, and I think everybody would agree, at least if you're not a Billy Mitchell fan or a William Billy Mitchell fan, that the guy is just not very good for the gaming community. I mean, he was the video game player of the century by, I guess, Namco, and then even that's not real. So then you're just like, so what does this legacy even mean at the end of the day, Billy? Your public appearances are a fraud. You're not even like who you are. You play on MAME, you do this, and it's like, it's not defamation, Billy. You screwed up. And Carl was just reporting on you. You can say whatever you want when you think you know, about Apollo Legend and all that stuff, but at the end of the day, the writing's on the wall, Billy. Like, you cheated. Like, and no amount of suing or litigation is going to change what people think. And, my heart goes out to Karl Jobst because that man is a legend. That man is an icon. I mean, he says, "Hello, absolute legends." Karl Jobst is an absolute legend, and Billy Mitchell is nothing but an absolute fraud. Like, I'm sorry, I met Billy Mitchell in person in 2012 at the freaking Art of Video Games exhibit. And I acted all shell shocked because, I never thought I'd meet this person, but there was just something about it that just didn't feel real. And even now looking back and I'm like, I'm glad I never really talked to them more than I did. And it was just sad. But anyway, guys, what do you think? Do you think Karl Jobst is in the right? Do you think Billy Mitchell's in the right? Or I know where I stand on this. But like, comment, subscribe. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you guys on the next video. Bye!